So anti-Semitism is obviously a big story in this country, and nobody knows what's in people's hearts. But certainly, if you support Hamas, you're anti-Semitic. Okay, I mean, there's no wiggle room out of that. So there are 6 million Jews in America, 7 million in Israel. All right, 6 million in America. Yet American Jews have a disproportionate amount of wealth and power. Why? Because they are well educated, generally speaking. They work very, very hard. Okay. And they are organized. That's why they're succeeding in our capitalist society. Not only that, but they control a large part of the entertainment and news industry. All right. In Hollywood, there are, I got the list here of powerful people, and it is formidable and always has been. Always has been. Louis B. Mayer, all of these old movie moguls, they're all Jewish. But there is a problem now in that community because there is a tendency for American Jews to vote liberal. I think that's an accurate statement. Okay? Most Jewish Americans are liberal. But now the liberals are against Israel, at least 20% of them. So there's a conflict. And I wondered how these movie moguls in Hollywood are handling that. So who best to ask, and a guy who's been in Hollywood since Walt Disney, Ben Stein. He's the author of a new book, which is a good book. I'm reading it now. The Peacemaker, Nixon, the Man, President, and My Friend. Just out, and you should check it out. Mr. Stein was a speech writer for President Nixon, a Yale grad, not going to hold that against him. And he joins us now from L.A. So in the showbiz community, the criticisms of Israel have been pretty muted, I have to say. Because they are progressive far left. There's a big cadre of them. How are you seeing it?
I see it the same way it always is, that the Jews in Hollywood in very large measure have substituted the worship of the Lord God Almighty for the worship of Karl Marx. And this has been going on for a long time, although Hollywood is not all one stone, one monolith, one might say. There's the studio heads before the war, before World War II. They were all Jewish, and they were all quite conservative, very, very conservative. And then the writers and actors, they were very left-wing. Not all, but very many of them. And those people have become ever more powerful and prevalent in terms of their political views. The people who are running the studios nowadays are not the same kind of people who were running the studios in the days of Louis B. Mayer, was in any way before the war, but certainly before the Vietnam War. And just by dint of burrowing from the inside out, the powerful leftists in Hollywood have taken over Hollywood. And it's very much a shame. It's a tragedy, in fact. And it's a disgrace to the Jewish people, because Hollywood was one of the few clearly on Israel's side entities in America, and now we have the very devout Christians. They're even better, but Hollywood has changed. They're still Jewish.
Yeah, I don't see any.
They're not right wing. Right.
I don't see any outright support of Israel, and maybe I missed it. But look, you got Jeffrey Katzenberg, one of those powerful executives in Hollywood. He's heading up Biden's reelection campaign, a money raiser. You got Ari Emanuel, you got Steven Spielberg. You got powerful, very, very wealthy people funding progressive causes all day long. But on the Israel thing, they're muted. I haven't seen any demonstrations in Hollywood pro-Israel. Have you? Have you seen any of that?
Well, I belong to a group called the Republican Jewish Coalition. And but we are nowhere near, not even remotely, at the level of power, wealth, and influence of the people whose names you just mentioned. And I don't see it either. And it's a very, very heart-rending, or as my wife would say, heart-rendering situation. And I don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand it. If Hollywood cannot be for the Israel state, the state of the Jewish people, I don't know who can. I mean,
Yeah,
if
I mean,
Hollywood is going to
I'm
ban,
waiting. I'm waiting for some, organized thing out of Hollywood supporting Israel. I have not seen it, but the one thing that I have seen is that Hollywood now supports the cancel culture big time, because I
big time,
know, right,
big time.
I
And
know a
when
lot of people, not as many as you, but I know a lot of people in the showbiz industry, and a lot of them are moderate conservative, and they say if I say one word that's not left wing, I don't work. And
well,
that across the board.
I've seen that in my own life, and I've seen it happen to me very cruelly. I think because I helped produce, write, and star in, so to speak, a documentary which said that God created the earth and people and creatures on it, and not evolution. And for that, I was really very much barred from Hollywood for a very long time, and basically still am. And that's a horrifying situation. People don't know this, but I want to share with you because you're my pal. Before the actual breakout of war between the U.S. and Nazi Germany, Hollywood sent representatives to Hitler's Germany and invited representatives from Hitler's Germany to come to Hollywood to screen Hollywood movies and make sure they were not saying anti-German, anti-Nazi things, because they did not want to offend the German and German-speaking audience in Europe. And this is, as I say, something not everyone knows, but it was a disgrace, and it happened. And I think it's, in a way, still happening. And very, very, very bad news, disgraceful. And I don't know what else I could say about it, except if it's bad news and it's disgraceful, it's really a bad thing. Thank God for the evangelical Christians. Thank God for them.
Sure. And not only that, but the Roman Catholics, and they're all staunchly against the terrorists and pro-Israel in this regard. Now, I'm learning a lot from your book, which is my litmus test to read any book. And one of the things that I learned that I had no idea was that Richard Nixon was a hero in the Yom Kippur War of 1973. Now, for people who don't remember that, Egypt and Syria attacked Israel, and Israel was ill prepared for the attack, almost exactly the same that happened in October with Hamas. And Israel was fighting for its life in 1973. And Nixon okayed a technology, a new technology, and sent it to Golda Meir and the Israeli government that made it more difficult for the Syrians and the Egyptians to launch their rockets. And it was a new technology, and Nixon's advisors did not want to send that over. But Nixon overrode everybody and did it. An amazing fact.
Even Mr. Kissinger, obviously a Jew, people often think I'm Kissinger, even though I'm much younger than Kissinger. Kissinger said, no, you'll get us in terrible trouble with the Arabs. Nixon said, I don't care. This is right. It's just right that the Russians cannot be allowed to dominate the Middle East by sending these super good jamming devices that jam the electronics in the Israeli Air Force. And Nixon said, I want to hear the sound of the jet engines taking off from Andrews Air Force Base with the devices that will help the Israeli Air Force. That saved Israel. That saved Israel.
Were you surprised, because you were there, and were you surprised that Nixon overrode all his advisors?
I was very surprised. Not at all, because bear in mind, I don't know how well you remember this. My father was chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors. I was the president under President Nixon and Ford, and he was pleading, along with several other high-ranking Jewish people at the White House, for Nixon to help Israel. But I think Nixon would have done it anyway. Nixon's mother had said to him, when Nixon was a young man, you will someday be given the chance to help the Jewish people, the children of God. You will be given that chance. It will be a gigantic historical chance. Go ahead and do it, and you will be in the history books forever as the person who saved the children of God.
But you know what? everybody's forgotten it, which is why they should read the
yeah.
book, The Peacemaker, Nixon, the Man President, and my friend, Ben Stein. Hey, Ben, always good to see you, man. You know?
Good to see you, sir. God bless
All
you,
right.
sir. God bless
Thank
every
you
word
very
you
much.
said.
Right.
Thank you, sir.